So we're out in Victoria, Texas this morning, and they are doing a, what is it called?
It's a pro-life chain across America.
Right, and they're doing this in cities all across the United States, including the great state of Texas. So we're out here to, one, support their event, and also talk to people out here participating about why they are participating, and then talking about what Texas has done so far and what they think our legislators and the future should hold for Texas in a post-Roe America. So could you tell us why you're out here and who you're out here with?
I am out here today with family and friends, and I'm out here to support pregnant women, to support babies that are in the womb who don't have rights or hadn't before Roe versus Wade was overturned. And we know that Planned Parenthood and abortion clinics are still referring abortions out of state, and we're here to let those women know that we're here to help them whatever way we can.
Right on. So she said she's here with the family and friends. There's a bunch of little kids back there. We got some over here, and future pro-life generation, children. So they're out here supporting life. Can you tell us about what's been going on in Texas in the legislature for the past year or so, as far as like abortion laws and stuff, and how that is affecting Texas?
So about a year ago, the heartbeat bill was passed. So as soon as a heartbeat was detected on an ultrasound, no abortion. And then recently, with Roe versus Wade being overturned, Texas had a trigger law. So as soon as Roe versus Wade was overturned, no abortions at all, whether there's a heartbeat or not, as long as you have a positive pregnancy test.
Right.
We want to keep that going. We'd like to see that happen in as many states as possible.
So up until last year, in healthcare facilities in Texas, we killed approximately 175 children a day, right? And once the healthcare law, the heartbeat bill went into effect, it reduced the number of children that were killed in healthcare facilities down to about 100 a day. And now that the trigger law has gone into effect, those healthcare centers have closed down. So children are no longer being killed in these healthcare facilities in Texas. How much do you know about self-managed abortion and the trends that have taken place in that over the past 2 years?
So I guess there's chemical abortion, where you can take the pill. I think those are being mailed to Texans.
Right.
I'm not sure how they're going to stop that. Hopefully there's a way of legislation can stop those being shipped here to women, because it's extremely dangerous for a woman to have an abortion in her own bathroom.
Right.
It's traumatic for her. There could be a lot of hemorrhaging, and now you're telling her she has to do it all alone, sit on the toilet, don't look, and flush your child down the toilet.
Right.
It's inhumane, and it's very traumatic for a woman.
So what we noticed up until last year is that medical abortions done with the 2-pill regimen, rose to be over 55% of all of the abortions that are done in healthcare facilities. And as those healthcare facilities started reducing the number of abortions that they did, we saw a rise in what you were talking about, these mail-in abortion requests, right? Where just one company, Ada Access, and there's multiple companies, and there's multiple underground streams that have been set up for self-managed abortion, abortion outside of the formal healthcare system. What we saw is at the same time that we saw a decrease in the number of deaths in the healthcare facilities, we saw a matching increase in the number of requests for the same pills online through ADA access. So when last year in September, when we enacted the healthcare law that said you could not kill your child once there was a detectable heartbeat, and abortions decreased in healthcare facilities by about 75 per day, we saw an increase of somewhere around 50 to 60 a day in self-managed abortion requests from just AID access alone. And then we saw another increase once they started talking about Roe versus Wade being overturned. So when we see that these laws have closed healthcare facilities, we've seen that in Texas, it hasn't fully reduced the number of abortions at all. It's just moved them out of the healthcare facilities into doing it at home. So how do you think we can start managing and dealing with those abortions?
I think women need to know that there are resources out there. If they don't know that there's a pregnancy resource center in their town, they don't know where to turn to, and they're going to think that that pill is their only option. So we need to get the word out that there are maternity homes and pregnancy resources centers out there with diapers. You know, we'll throw you baby showers, we'll help you with housing, spiritually, education, whatever you need.
So there are people that are saying that abortion is illegal in Texas. And to a certain degree, there's a truth in that it is illegal for somebody to perform an abortion, but it is not illegal for the woman to perform an abortion, right? So it is legal in Texas explicitly where she is allowed, permitted, sanctioned by the government, to kill her own preborn child for any reason that she wants to up until birth, and it's not to be considered criminal homicide. Do you think that that is an inconsistent problem?
I do to a degree. I think maybe in a few years we could look at charges for a woman who commits her own abortion, because right now maybe she still does think it's not a baby, or maybe she's just uninformed. But the doctors definitely know who are performing these abortions. They will call them babies.
Right. How often have you gone to abortion clinics or colleges to talk to women? Or is that something that you do?
No, I've done 40 Days for Life a few times, standing outside abortion clinics, praying, and if somebody wants to talk to you, they can stop and talk. But I volunteer with the Gabriel Project here, and we're a pregnancy resource center.
So how much do you really believe that they don't know what they're doing
these days?
Yeah.
Just a fraction.
Right.
Their ultrasounds. The ultrasounds have been around for years.
Right.
You have pictures of your daughter, your son, your niece or nephew on your refrigerator.
Right.
You know that that's a baby.
See, because I go to abortion clinics in San Antonio up until earlier this year when they started closing, and we would go out there 4 days a week. The women know. They tell you they know. They tell you, I know this is a baby. I'm going to kill this baby because I don't want this baby. So I think that we're already at a point where women already know. And I think we find this in our laws as well, right? So 20 years ago, we had the Unborn Children as Victims Act, which allowed states to consider preborn children as victims of violent crimes. And this allows us to do fetal homicide laws and things like that. And this has been going on in Texas for over 20 years. Last year, we convicted and sentenced a man to life in prison without parole, rightly, for choking out his wife, and the child died. And I think that was the right thing to do. I think he should have been convicted, and
I agree.
Right. So why is it that only women that kill their own preborn children are removed? So it's not only men, right? But it's women as well. If you punched a pregnant woman and that child dies, you could be charged with the same homicide, right? Here's the example I like to give. Let's say that my wife is 12 weeks pregnant and I have a mistress and she's 12 weeks pregnant. My wife finds out and she gets on the line and orders abortion pills, crushes them up, takes some herself and slips some to my mistress. Both children die. My wife could be charged for the homicide of the mistress,
Right.
but she cannot be charged for the homicide of her own child. Did she know that it was homicide for one and not the other?
I love the analogy
you
here.
see what I mean?
Yes.
It's like, I think we have a huge disconnect when we instantly remove them from the entire judicial process, right? And we say all women that kill their own preborn children are immune from prosecution. And when I say prosecution, I don't mean punishment. I mean the entire judicial process, of due process, right? Of collecting the evidence, the DA searching through it and seeing if there's a charge. If so, what's the charge? An actual trial. That's what I'm talking about, where every case should be adjudicated on the merits of its own case. So why do you think that, by and large, the pro-life movement is against justice?
Well, maybe it's because for the last 50 years, women have been fed this lie that this is feminism.
Right. But we've already dealt with that with for over 20 years in Texas.
Yeah.
The same indoctrination, the same lies, the same everything has hit not just pregnant women, but women and men, and we hold them accountable. It's only women that kill their own preborn children that are removed. That's inconsistent.
Yeah,
don't you think?
It's definitely inconsistent. I don't agree with it.
So what can we do? What do you think we can do about that?
Just enact more legislation that if a woman tries to gets an abortion, she will be charged. Because it is a human, and it's not just any human, it's your own child, your own son or daughter.
So in this last legislative session, there was a man who, so for the past several years, we've put in bills of legislation that do that, and it gets shut down every single time because pro-life organizations like Texas Alliance for Life, Texas Right to Life, back legislators that say things like, we will never punish a woman that kills her own preborn child, right?
I think maybe they're just not ready for it.
Oh. Who's not ready?
I guess the politicians or some people in the pro-life movement are just not ready to take that next step. Like, they're total abolitionists,
right?
Who believe that if not every baby can be saved, they won't even do something like a 15-week ban or a heartbeat law, because that wouldn't protect all babies. So,
because it shows partiality. Right, it shows partiality to say that you can kill a child after 15 weeks. And
if it was either or, I would definitely take an incremental step.
But we're at a point in Texas where we're not there right now, right? We're at a point in Texas where healthcare facilities are closed, right? Healthcare laws that tell a doctor when he can kill a child no longer exist, right? All we're left with is women killing their children on their own. And the pro-life movement and their legislators are impotent to stop it because they're unwilling to say that a woman that does that could be guilty.
Yeah.
You know, how do we reach? I guess that's my question. I'm like, you see, it's inconsistent.
Yeah.
How do we reach these organizations and legislators and say, because right now what they want to do, like, now I don't believe that they ever thought Roe versus Wade was ever going to be overturned, which is why they passed trigger laws. And we've seen in several of the 13 states, governors and legislators, once it was overturned, go, whoa, we need to start walking some of this back. Maybe we jumped the gun. Texas, Republican legislators in Texas are saying this as of 2 weeks ago. Pro-life, 100% pro-life.
Yeah.
Legislators are like, oh, I think we've gone too far with this trigger law that we've already passed. What do we say to them?
I think we need to just make phone calls or shoot them emails saying that that's not what we support. We support a total ban on abortion.
Right on.
We don't want you to be walking it back. Don't be scared.
Right.
You have our support, and if you are going to walk it back, then you won't have our support anymore.
See, and that's it. We should encourage them, right? Give them courage to stand up for these children and protect all of them, including the ones that are being killed at home.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
We are Titus 2 women, seeking to glorify God through the teaching of younger women, biblically, to love their husbands, children, and be keepers of the home.
Not grudgingly or as a legalistic chore, but rather to joyfully sacrifice in loving their husband and children as unto the Lord.
Giving glory to God and finding joy in caring for our families in only the way wives and mothers can.
As God has blessed us with female traits that make our work in the home essential to a godly home.
It's no secret that true masculinity is being lost. We are attempting to recapture the essence of true godly manhood, biblically balanced just as the Lord intends it to be. We do this by highlighting the interest of the everyday man and pointing them to real wisdom only found in the gospel. One of our top priorities is to shine light on and support ministries on the front lines battling the evil deeds of the flesh and Satan. A portion of all online sales go to ministries such as Resisting Balaam and Bridge Ministries Laredo to further the kingdom and bring glory to his name. So who are we? We are husbands. We are fathers. We are sons. We are friends. And we are brothers. We are reformed man.